Mahomes at bay.
The Tampa Bay Bucs, Super Bowl 55.
Hello and welcome back to the Bucs Banter Podcast. This is our 71st episode. We've been off the air for a little bit. I was away in Mexico on a honeymoon, and the boys had stuff going on. I don't even know if that's true, actually, but I was away, so we didn't record. So we're back just in time because the Buccaneers are heading to the playoffs after one hell of a roller coaster this season has been. And we're going to talk all about the upcoming matchup between the Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. We are going to offer a score prediction for this game. We're going to offer our predictions for who's going to win the Super Bowl matchup. And we're going to go through our list of the major individual player awards since the regular season has concluded. So that's what's up. Joined by Scott Capron and Bohdan Yard as always. And make sure you subscribe to the channel while you're here. Check us out on YouTube, subscribe, rate, review if you're listening to our podcast on Apple or Spotify or whatever. And make sure you're checking out bucksgameday.com for all of your written Buccaneers coverage. And yeah, so gentlemen, how are we feeling today? How you guys doing?
Yeah, great, dude. Just wanted to confirm that the stuff that Bohdan and I had was Collin was on his honeymoon. So just for the record, but yeah, man, great. So awesome that the playoffs are finally set, and we haven't been on the air since the Bills-Bengals game, obviously with DeMar Hamlin. So just all good vibes going out to him and the whole Bills family. And sorry, I just wanted to get that out there off the top. But yeah, just now. The Bucs are somehow in the playoffs. We have a full playoff bracket. This first weekend of the playoffs is just so fun. It's so fun. And the Monday night wrinkle to it, and that the fact that the Bucs are in that is phenomenal. So looking forward to it.
No doubt. I couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah, the Monday night thing is interesting. I'm like, part of me is like, oh, I got to wait all weekend. But part of me is like, all right, that's cool. Like standalone game, something to look forward to while I'm at work on Monday. Takes away those Sunday scaries. And I don't have to worry about getting shit-faced waiting around for the game to start because I'll be working. So,
you will be? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'll be working. Right. Yeah.
So I can't.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Enough.
I'm sure my publisher, Logan Robinson's happy to hear that.
I think it's good, man. You have the whole other slate of games and pools and betting and stuff to occupy you. Then you just have Monday Bucs, right?
Yeah, no,
you kind of either want to be first or last in the position that you're in.
I agree. I think honestly, I know we're on the phone, we're on the call with Gino himself here. But if I'm a Seahawks fan, I don't mind either shocking the world right away Saturday afternoon, or we had a nice run and and we're good. Yeah. So,
and something I've become accustomed to this season is being bitter after a disappointing Bucs loss. So the fact that I don't have to deal with that all weekend while watching other football, it won't tarnish that for me, is a nice little wrinkle as well.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, the 8-9 Buccaneers are hosting the 12-5 Dallas Cowboys in the wild card round on Monday Night Football, as we just said. The Buccaneers had a walkthrough practice today that was closed to the media, so we don't really have any injury updates. We won't get those until tomorrow. Figure out who's practicing and who's not. And then I kind of want to just sort of talk about the biggest questions for the Bucs heading into this game. I think the health of their offensive line is essential, especially against that mean Cowboys defensive front, led, of course, by Micah Parsons. Now, Hainsey, who's done a really good job this year filling in for Ryan Jensen, really good job. His first, he's ultimately a rookie at the position. Yeah. Once Jensen got hurt, they're like, oh shit, we got to train this guy at center. He was a tackle in college, and his whole rookie year, he was training as a guard. So, considering all of that, Hainsey's been a really important piece, and he's continued to improve throughout the year. So him going down with a hamstring, I mean, it sucks he was out there. I don't know if it's more precautionary or not. I think he's been participating in walkthroughs and stuff, so I'm hoping it's nothing serious. But again, a hamstring's a shitty one for a center. I'm always impressed at how those guys hold that squat position at their size so long. And then you're backpedaling. It really is a terrible injury for a center.
I don't get it. Just You know what I mean? Like they're absolute monsters, right? So I think we turn to that just because we always see the sheer size, but just that flexibility and everything. It's insane.
Really is.
Yeah.
And now, but then the other question is, if Hainsey can't go, where are we at with Ryan Jensen? Because he's been practicing a little bit, like he was without pads at first. What if Big Red comes through those doors ready to rock? Because I tell you that would light a fire under everyone's ass, man.
Would they have to take him off of IR tomorrow?
He's already been cleared to return. So like if he has a window, he has to. Yeah, he has to. They have to declare whether he's going to play within the next few days, I believe, because you get like a 21-day window. So we'll probably find that out tomorrow. I don't know. At least where it's trending.
Yeah. I assume because it's Monday night, so it must be Buck and Aikman doing the game. And if Jensen's a surprise starter, we better get like by God, that's Ryan Jensen's music or something like that as he comes out of the tunnel, right? So that would be unbelievable if he played.
I can't let you get away with just fantasizing about the best case scenario. What's the worst case scenario on the other end of that?
Oh, dude. So if they both can't go, that'd be brutal, man. Nick Leverett, who thank God they replaced Luke Gedeke with at left guard, has played really well there. Leverett's a guy who's been in the Bucs system for a while. He started off in the practice squad and then became kind of just a reserve swing player.
But now he's back. He's back at center then.
Well, then he would have to go over to center. And he's been doing a great job at left guard. And guess who then has to go into the left guard spot?
Exactly why I brought this up.
Be a fucking nightmare, Bo.
Luke Gedeke going up against Micah Parsons is going to play a lot of interior defensive linemen if Luke Gedeke's out there.
It would be catastrophic.
Yeah.
Honestly, it would. My confidence, whatever confidence exists, I don't know, maybe you'll find out. That would just all but dissipate completely because Luke Gedeke, man, he even watching him in that Falcons game, which wasn't a real game for the Bucs, like they had guys in and out, but so you can't judge the team performance, like they lost, who gives a shit. Couple issues I had with that game. I mean, they claim they don't have enough bodies to like rest everyone, but seeing Antoine Winfield on the field for 4 quarters was not ideal. Didn't love that. He's been banged up all year, but he only knows one way to play, as should be the case with any NFL player. So that was a little sketchy. Russell Gage got banged up being in the game in the second half. And then of course Hainsey, but his was in the first half. That shit's gonna happen. It's football. Like I'm not gonna act like
it's such a weird week. Just quick sidebar away from that week 18. People are trying to put together what's going on. You see the line movement, which you would imagine is being dictated by some very good information, right? And then, you see the Herbert, the Chargers and the Broncos, and Herbert looked like he was going to play the whole game, right? I had the Broncos in something. I was like, hey, Herbert, anytime now, Herbie, if you want to take a seat, but you never really know. Like the coaches aren't held to anything, right? And then it's
terrible week.
I kind of love it.
I think
it's a week to bet. Yeah,
I think it's a terrible week to bet in some ways because it's so hard to predict. But like obviously, Scott, you were playing the right side of that with the Broncos.
But that was what I thought was going to happen. At halftime, I wasn't feeling too good about it. Right? Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
And the team we're talking about, Dallas Cowboys, same deal there. Those guys played the whole freaking game, man. Like so,
they had to though. That's like the elephant in the room here of everyone talking about that's picking the Bucs. But go ahead,
Philly was up 16-0 at halftime. I mean, they could have pulled them at that point. But no one expected the Giants to make any kind of game of it without, with all their scrubs out there. So I think at that point you could have pulled them. But they played the whole game and they tried to win that game.
Yeah,
and boy, did they look awful. Like I watched that entire game. Of course.
Does that? So I guess my question to you the main question I have this week is does that performance make you feel better about the Bucs going into this game? Or does that make you think the Cowboys are we're going to get the best version of the Cowboys?
Right. Because you could kind of be like, oh shit, well then they're going to bounce back because they haven't lost 2 in a row all year for one.
Yeah.
But no, I would say it does give me a little bit of confidence because I like seeing just watching how it happened. It was very unimpressive. Like Dak was. I think Dak's tremendous quarterback. By the way, I'm a I've realized Dak's really fucking good. Like, he's elite. Like, he's very good. But this game, man, he was completely out of sync. He was late on all his throws. Was not on the same page with the receivers. And if you don't have CeeDee Lamb going, like, if you take out CeeDee Lamb, their passing game, I feel great about how our defense lines up, especially in the secondary against those guys. Like, really, really good. So I like that matchup to begin with. My fears are all along the interior. Our offensive line. And again, it all comes back to the health of the offensive line. But just specifically in terms of watching that game, did it inspire any more confidence than would have existed if they say stomp them? Yeah, it did. It did. I'd rather see that version of Dallas,
I think, and that's totally fair, Collin. That's one of those ones I think reasonable minds can disagree, because they probably went into the game knowing the Giants, they're a 14-point underdog. Are they going to win at the Eagles? No. Now, like you said, they were playing most of the guys out. I was just actually following that game on my phone. Kept noticing Washington kind of expanding the lead. I'm like, who's playing for Dallas? And I'm looking at the plays and what's going on, and was a little bit surprised. So anyways, like I was saying, I think people could chalk it up as a true what the fuck week. People are getting ready for the playoffs. There was probably like a 90% shot they knew that they were going to Tampa this week. But I totally understand, hey, that was their roster, and they got dismantled by a very mediocre team starting a rookie quarterback in his first game, right? In Sam Howell in Washington. So that's what I feel like you could kind of take it either way. Not to sit on the fence, but it is literally what I just did. So
no, and that's fair. And like you're saying, like, so they were out there though, and like the Commanders, I swear to God, should have been up 28-6. Like if they left so many points on the board in Sam Howell's first start, it was wild. Yeah. So I mean, I'd rather see that version of them than them just looking absolutely dialed and lighting up the Commanders, I guess, is ultimately.
Yeah, no, that's fair. To be fair, also, I think Ron Rivera thought they were still playing for a playoff spot up until about the third quarter. Someone had to tell him. So,
he finally looked at his phone.
Keep fighting.
Yeah. Builder watching us on YouTube. What's good, Builder? Feel free to drop any questions or comments you have as it pertains to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their upcoming wildcard round playoff game versus the Dallas Cowboys. And then other things like questions for the Bucs. I mean, the big one is obviously the what I would consider to be the prevailing narrative throughout the year, and that's how is Byron Leftwich going to call this game? How is the offense going to come out? Because we haven't done a podcast since the Carolina game, which I was watching by the beach, but I made sure to get it. Shit, I got to cancel my Game Pass. I ordered Game Pass for that. It cost me $50 just for that one game. I literally just remembered that. Anyway. But the offense finally clicked, and it just shows you when the talent gets going on this team, it can happen so quick. They didn't even start the game off that well. Next thing you know, Tom Brady has 4 total touchdowns, 3 deep balls to Mike Evans, over 200 yards, 3 TDs for him. Great to see Mike get off like that. Like show he's still that alpha dog, and he can be deep. But I think a big part of it too is it felt like Brady was trusting his O-line a little bit more and just taking that extra.
Half a second,
extra half second to like take the shots. You know what I mean? And boy, does he throw a sweet deep ball.
But that extra half second for him to get an extra pat on the ball, or to see his receiver separate, or just trust that he's going to, is so huge, right? And the offense definitely did come alive, but it did come alive after another pretty stagnant first half, right?
Yeah, and
a couple short field goal attempts and makes. But I mean, just the positivity of seeing Brady to Evans and how lethal they were. And Carolina had been playing better, and they had a shot at the division still at that time, like with that game, right? Tampa was only, I think, a 3-point favorite in the game. So it was pretty evenly matched according to Vegas, but definitely nice to see. And sorry, as you were linking it to this game call, the health of the O-line is going to matter so much, because if they're going to be insistent on still running on first and second down, then that O-line is going to have to somehow hold up against that pass rush from Dallas on 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7. And if they can't, then it's over. Or maybe that's the impetus that they need to finally be more aggressive early to not let that pass rush get home. So it's going to be it's going to be pretty obvious pretty early in the game. I don't know about you, Bo. Don't you feel like Tampa's down 10-0 somehow in this game, and it just depends on if Brady comes back or not? Like, that's what I think is going to happen.
I don't know. I was thinking that maybe Tampa gets out to a hot start, and then like that's what I kind of think is going to happen. I think that they're going to get out to that hot start, and it's going to be kind of like they're going to have that moment in the second half like they did against the Bengals, and it's just like, can you sink or swim? Can you protect this lead or not? Like, I feel like that's what I can see, because they've been in that position so many times before this year. It's just like, I think it's only right for the season to come down to that. To me, is like, can you prove that you're the team you are for a full game?
Yeah, good or bad. Are you going to sustain a certain level of play?
Seriously.
And it's so funny that it's a rematch, but it really isn't, right? Because that the game from week 1 feels like 3 seasons ago. But if you want to look at it that way, they did go into Dallas and handle them. It's really one of their best wins of the season, all things considered. But just how much has changed is it's quite stark, right? So anyway, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like you said, though, the offensive line either dictating what the play calling is or vice versa is really what I'm going to be looking for on the offensive side of the ball for them.
Yeah, like I've watched football closely for like 25 years now. And every single one of those years, I have just gained a greater appreciation for offensive line play.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Like when the Bucs had this dominant offensive line the last couple of years, it made me appreciate it more. And then now this year to have that taken away, it somehow makes me appreciate it even more.
Well,
that is the key to this game for the Bucs. I truly believe it. If you got to pick one, that's the key.
For sure. And that's credit to the Dallas pass rush, right?
Totally.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm not even – so I feel good about I'm not scared of the Cowboys secondary. Like, they're very opportunistic, and I think they capitalize off of the pressure up front. They create a lot of splash plays.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady, he's careful with the football. He's smart. And I think our receivers are trending in the right direction, and I think they can cause a lot of problems for that defensive backfield for the Cowboys. And conversely, I feel good about the Bucs defensive backs if they're all healthy lining up against Cowboys receivers, as I mentioned. So it really comes back to that O-line for me. And I mean, sorry, the other big thing that we already mentioned is the play calling on offense. Like, are they going to come out? Are they going to run play action? Are they going to be aggressive and spread the ball around and attack them through the air? Because the run game just ain't doing it.
No.
Like, they're just not moving the ball on the ground. And like, but whatever, man, just like play to your strengths. I would love to see more Rachaad White snaps because he's so great as a receiver. And got to give it to Lenny, though, too, man. Like, Lenny's catching the ball well, but Rachaad is just far more dynamic. Like, those guys, I think, combined for like 120 receptions this year.
Well, and it's funny because the the running back duos for both teams, there's quite a comparison between the two of them, or a similarity between the two of them, right? Like
the Thunder
Zeke and Fournette, right? The high picks, the bruisers. Like, I saw some tweet, I think, about Zeke's touchdowns, and more than half of them are from the 1 yard line, right? And I kind of killed Zeke earlier in the season as a fantasy guy because I thought Pollard was going to be even more heavily used, and Pollard had an absolutely insane season, and is definitely someone the Bucs are going to have to be aware of on Monday. Their linebackers with him coming out of the backfield, because I mean, he's unbelievable.
Pollard's
that guy
the man.
He's unreal. But Zeke had a great year as well. Their running back tandem was super efficient, and I think that's what they've had to do with the lack of weapons that they've had on the outside with losing Amari Cooper, right? Because so much of it depends on CeeDee Lamb winning his matchup because he's so by far their best receiver, right? And obviously Tampa has more options on the flip side when it comes to their receivers. So
it's kind of reversed. Right?
Yes.
In terms of positionally, like the Bucs would be wise to depend more on the passing attack, and then I think the Cowboys, they got to establish that run game. And you're right, Scotty, that might be the best running back corpse in the league this year.
I mean, I love Pollard. Oh my God.
Yeah, Pollard's really fun to watch. I like him a lot too.
Zeke, and sorry, I'm not interrupting again. Sorry, Zeke is overpaid, and it's an insane contract, but he was fucking good. right? Like, no, he's not worth what he's getting paid. Doesn't mean he wasn't good, right?
He's looked a lot better this year than
I thought
last
so
year.
too.
He just looks a lot better, and I think Pollard's emergence probably has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about that Thunder and Lightning tandem, the old Tiki Barber, Ron Dane thing, or Brandon Jacobs, whatever.
We just touched on the linebackers too. I think this is a big game for them. I think I don't know about you guys, but when I saw the Roquan Smith contract come out, I was like, oh shit, Devin White got a little bit extra motivation this week because like this is like the perfect game for you. Like if you're a dominant linebacking core against the Dallas Cowboys, you can take away the middle of the field from them, getting to the run backs fast, taking away the options for the tight ends that kind of Dak just kind of use as like a crutch on like a down to down basis, especially on third down. So Devin White can actually like control that run game a little bit, like blow up plays in the backfield, even if he blows them at the line, chasing guys down, stringing them out across and playing horizontally instead of vertically. Could be a huge game for him. Honestly, I think like that's one of the guys that I don't know what his tackles number is, but that's one that I'll be looking at for a bet this week for sure.
And his for sure. That's a good looking out there. I would take it even if it's 7.5 total tackles. I'd be taking the over. But Devin White, man, one time that guy comes to play in the postseason. That's one thing you got to give him. Exactly. He had the most ridiculous run from a linebacker that maybe we've seen in 20 years individually.
What a Super Bowl run!
The timing, right? Yeah. Like if he has that year, this like right now, like is he holding out for his 5th year? Like he's like pay me now. Like I'm done. Like
he's so maligned. He's so contentious in Tampa, right? Like at times he really becomes a scapegoat, and at times he plays really bad. Yeah. But when he's good, he's incredibly
so good.
He's so
and there's no in between this week. There's no in between this week for me.
But I feel
he's either going to be awesome or go ahead.
But I agree, Bo. I feel like we're going to know early. Like on the first series, he's either going to get to Dak or he's going to have a tackle for loss and a pass breakup or something like that. Yeah. And, we've seen him just go absolutely berserk when he makes a couple plays in a row, right?
Yeah, and he's a momentum guy.
And the game's in Tampa on Monday night. Like that place is going to be fucking nuts. I don't know. From the defense's standpoint, I can't wait to see them come out and maybe force a couple 3-and-outs in a row, quick turnover, something like that, and just get all the momentum on their side. Because I mean, that helps Brady a ton too. Not for like from a tangible, let's say field positions standpoint, but also I think he really responds to when the defense makes plays and he knows what he has to do to hold up his end of the bargain. I know that's more of a subjective thing, but just from watching him for so many years, I think there's really something to that. So we'll see what goes on.
For sure. I think I agree with you on the Brady thing. My fear is this coaching staff and how they respond when the defense comes out firing, because they've done it before. And I feel like they tighten their ass cheeks even more because they're like, oh, our D's going to lead us to glory. Let's just play our stupid, like establish the run approach.
I know.
And that's what scares me more than anything.
That's such a good point. Like, because Bowles sees 3 good defensive series and he thinks they have to score. They only need to score 16 points to win the game, right? Like it's when he starts thinking field goal. Oh yeah, 4th and 2 from the 3, and it's a field goal. Yeah, exactly. Oh God, that's a great point, man.
So yeah, man, like that, and you can't. I just can't talk about Devin White without talking about Levante David, because that's kind of the other side of the football with our own Thunder and Lightning. And Levante's so good. He's so good. He's had such a great year, and he's going to be an essential part of this game plan, just like Devin White will be, seeing how they match up with those running backs. And for Levante especially, if he's going to be covering Dalton Schultz and what he can do in the pass game or whatever slot receivers he might even be lined up with at times. The one thing I'll say, though, as a defensive play caller, I have a lot of faith in Todd Bowles in big games. He seems to turn it up and really get into his bag. We've seen him do it a number of times, and he's very, very good at focusing in on a certain offense. So I'm curious to see what kind of stuff he does. Again, stopping the run is going to be a huge key. It's the trenches for the Bucs for me. It's the trenches. We already talked about the O-line. Defensively, you got to try and not shut down, but limit, contain that potent attack that they have with those two-headed monster there. And I think the interior of the defensive line is going to be a big part of that, obviously, as well, with Vea and Hicks. And Akeem Hicks looked really good in this Atlanta game. He had a huge play on a third down sack, and like he was injured earlier. It seems like if he's getting healthy all of a sudden, and we get this game where him and Vea are both firing, because Vea is going to do his thing always. But if we get an impact from him, and then you got the bodies of Rakeem Nunez-Roches and Will Golston, who are both playing better now as the season's going on as well, all of a sudden, you got a really nice rotation of big boys there who can cause some issues.
Yep.
And at least keep the pressure on Zach Martin, because Zach Martin is as well equipped as anyone to try and handle Vita Vea. But if that's going to open up Akeem Hicks, and Joe Tryonchenko is due, man. He's getting his pressures. He's getting there. He just can't finish it.
Yeah.
So,
our boy Josh Capo tweeted about that from Sunday's game. How many more sacks he could have if he could just wrap up or finish the play, right? So I mean, I think that's a good sign that he's getting there. Obviously it only counts if you actually make the play, but he's there. He's still young. This would be what a spot for a breakout game for JTS, right? So let's see.
Got to get home. You got to get home.
It's just everything, right? When the defense comes up with a good pressure, a good blitz and everything, but you just don't get there, it's such a backbreaker, obviously, because then you're vulnerable on the back end of it. A quarterback that's just elusive enough to take one step back and kind of throw off their back foot or change their arm angle. It's just such a backbreaker when you come up with the right thing, you make the right decision to bring pressure, but you don't actually make the play. So it's going to be huge.
And then I think the last thing I want to hit on before I open it up to you guys, if there's anything else you want to talk about with this game before we offer our predictions, but Tom Brady's never lost to the Cowboys in his career. Yeah. And I mean, if there's any time to kind of excuse the performance of this offense throughout the year and say they got Tom Brady, it's now, and they got Tom Brady. Now, that being said, though, he's also never finished a season on a team with a losing record, which the Bucs have this year. So things are different, no doubt about it. But at any time, he can activate that GOAT switch, and this would be a hell of a time to do it. At home, too. Scott, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm looking forward to them playing at home. I like that. Dallas is used to playing at home on the turf too. Nice, it's on a grass field. Something the Bucs are used to. Seems minute, that sort of detail, but all those little things matter. Oh, apparently Micah Parsons doesn't like playing on grass. Actually, I heard that somewhere. I mean, he's certainly effective no matter what. He could be playing in water, but either way, keep the grass a little longer this week.
Yeah, that's a weird comment, but yeah.
So. Anything else you guys want to talk about on that, or should we make our predictions for the game?
Hey, if they lose because Dallas plays well, you know what I mean? I won't just go quietly into the night if they get completely fucking outcoached by Mike McCarthy. I can't, right? So he's not any good either. So, right? Yeah. So just please give the players the best chance to win, and then we can kind of dissect it from there. That's all I'm hoping for. I think they're going to play well. I do. I think the guys
they're totally playing one of the teams in the playoffs that can totally beat themselves. The Cowboys can come out and beat themselves anyway.
Yeah. Cowboys fans are scared because of the Tom Brady history and because they're Cowboys fans. So
of course,
they're scarred as well. So I've got some Cowboys buddies. It's funny.
Exactly. It's a rematch. It's the fact that it's Dallas who has been good but hasn't done anything. It's Dak, the quarterback that nobody can agree on whether or not he's good or not, kind of thing. There's so many interesting kind of side angles or narratives to the game. I'm just like, podcast and everything aside, it's probably it's my favorite game of the weekend. It really is. So
it's a good matchup. If the Bucs are playing well, it's a really good matchup positionally. Like when I did that game within the game piece coming into the year where I broke down every Bucs game of the year, the Cowboys one to open the season was one of my favorites, and the matchup I focused on was Carlton Davis and versus CeeDee Lamb, and they shut down CeeDee Lamb in that game. Now CeeDee Lamb has taken a big step forward this year. And he's kind of finding a way now to put up big games no matter how he's played. So I'm really interested to see that. But all over the field, there's very intriguing matchups that we've talked about, right? In the trenches, out wide, two great quarterbacks, even the coordinator battles like Todd Bowles versus Kellen Moore is interesting.
pretty crazy and Collin, obviously, but how deep receiver is right now across the league, considering like I don't know, I love CeeDee Lamb for what he is, and I think he's I think he's definitely a number one guy, but
could easily be like your 12th receiver if you listed them all.
I was just about to say somewhere between 10 and 15, probably, right? That's probably fair. And he's awesome. He's awesome.
He's awesome. And he could take over a game. I'm never surprised when he has 100 yards receiving.
No,
but he could be like the 12th best guy in the league.
Him and Dak obviously have a good connection, I think. And it's just, he's not a top tier guy, and it's not a knock. It just shows you how many good guys there are. So
the one thing that I will say before we get into the predictions, like just looking back on this box score and just kind of trying to put myself into like the shoes of what we were in week 1, 19-3 and Dak injures his hand in this game. They see Cooper Rush for the first time as Cowboys fans. Like absolutely embarrassed. Everyone thought their season was over basically.
Yeah.
Coming out on that Monday. Like to think that they don't have a ton of motivation going into this game, even though it's in Tampa, like this is going to be a tough. Like both of these teams have to play well to win.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
there's a reason.
Extremely well. Yeah.
There's a reason Dallas is favored. Like, against Tom Brady on the road.
Yeah.
And I know that's a super surface level, whatever projection, but that just doesn't happen very often. Even in that corpse year, when New England lost to the Titans, remember on the Saturday, like it was a wild card weekend, and they were still a 4 or 5 point favorite in that game, and it was nuts. So anyway,
dude, this box score is just like a time warp. Honestly, Lenny has 127 yards.
He was so good.
He was so good.
If we went back and listened to the pod after that episode, oh my God, I can only imagine what we said.
Brady threw for 8 yards a throw, 8 yards of completion, TD and a pick, 87 rating. Oh God, it's just it barely makes sense. You would never be able to write the script of these two teams after watching that first game.
Okay, well, let's write the script for this game. Scott, what happens? What's your prediction?
Oh man, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win 24-21, something like that. 28. I'll officially go. Well, I think they're going to be down early because, of course, they are. I'll say 24-20 Bucs.
Looky.
I know. I got to go have a shower. Fuck.
Get that Scotty Miller jersey going for Monday, buddy.
Yeah, seriously. Fuck.
Bohdan Yard.
Oh man, it's just good for the pod, right? Like, I honestly, I'm getting like weird Cincinnati vibes from this whole thing. So I'm just gonna go with that score, 34-23 Cowboys.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Okay. Fair, reasonable. I shocker. I'm going to take the Bucs 27-24, but the real shocker is Scotty taking the Bucs. I like this, but it's kind of a bad omen actually, because anytime Scott was on the Bucs this year, he just never felt right doing it. And then
and also next Wednesday is going to be hilarious when Scott gets on this pod being like, "What the hell?"
God, I don't. Yeah. Now I really need them to win because he's gonna. Yeah. Just don't bet it, Scott. Just don't bet it.
Okay, like I can't make any promises. I'm probably going to bet on it. So
it's a Monday night playoff game.
Like
I'm
a Monday night
Scott's
playoff
gonna sit
game.
this one out.
Like,
shit.
I'll probably just sit in the dark and watch it. Yeah, no, probably not. Autumn and I are going to have some shekels on it. But no, I do like the matchup, and they've shown more of a pulse later in the year. I don't know.
I just feel like this is it's a race to 30 points. Like somebody has to score 30 points in this game to win.
Really?
I trust the Cowboys to do that more than I do the Bucs.
The total's only 45.5. So I think their bank
oddly low for me. I don't know.
It seems low.
Yeah.
It seems low.
They're solid defenses too, right? They both have even the Bucs have a good defense at least. Like that's something that you got to give them. God, I miss Shaq Barrett, man.
But
the Cowboys have been bleeding points though too. Man.
True.
But that number, like that's the fact that the Bucs get behind, and have almost no offense in the first half is obviously baked into that number right now.
Yeah.
Look what they did against Carolina. They ended up putting up, I can't remember what the
30.
score was, but 30. Yeah. But they were pretty shitty in the first half. So I don't know. Like, what are you supposed to say? How are you supposed to know what to expect from Tampa? Like, what an insane playoff game when the more reliable team is the Cowboys, right? Or the more dependable one, at least.
Yeah.
Not even saying the better, but the more the one that you can expect, a solid performance from. I don't know. Like, it could go so many different ways. Obviously, I feel sick to my stomach picking the Bucs because they've been a total insane asylum team this entire year. But we'll see. It's Brady at home. I'll try.
Okay. Now, let's get to our Super Bowl predictions, and we can talk a bit about this weekend after if we want. But I think we should come out and just declare our Super Bowl predictions and who beats who, and then we can kind of work our way back if we want to sort of start with what we expect to see this weekend. I mean, so I'm gonna take the Bengals over the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think in the AFC, man, I think the divisional round is going to be absolutely lit because I'm expecting the Chargers to beat the Jags, even though that could be a really good game. I just believe that they're gonna do it, and then we're gonna see what in that case we would see Chiefs, Chargers, Bills, Bengals.
Yeah. Herbert, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen. That's literally like some combination of that plus Lamar.
I know.
And maybe Deshaun Watson for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. And ultimately there, I guess I'm picking the Bengals over the Bills, which is really hard to do. I just have so much belief in Joe Burrow in big moments. Like I don't know. And I think the Bills still have some holes. Of course the Bengals do too, but
is that game in Buffalo?
Sorry?
That game would be in Buffalo, right?
Wouldn't it be on a neutral site? Isn't that what
does that have to be a neutral site?
I believe that was what they said. If they meet in the divisional round, it's at a neutral site because of the cancellation.
I didn't know if that was only on the AFC Championship game. That is going to be a highly emotional game if that happens. And
it'd be crazy.
But I mean, I think the Bengals have looked better than the Bills for the last 2 months or so. Yep. But then the Bills have 3 losses, none of them by more than 3 points. Which is crazy. But I don't know. There's something about the way they looked the last 8 to 10 weeks of the season, just not as sharp, so dependent on Allen to make plays. And as good as he is against really good teams, is he going to make every single big play? Like, I don't think he has to. I don't think it's reasonable to expect him to play as well as he did in that Kansas City AFC champion. Or no, it wasn't even the championship game last year, the divisional game when they lost at the end, right? And he was absolutely unbelievable. And he's gonna have to beat Burrow and the Bengals and Mahomes just to get there. I'm sorry if we want to go into my picks now. I'm picking
the one. Sorry, but before you do, Scotty, I just want to say I also think the Bills are too dependent on Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Like from a playmaker perspective, there's just no one else to fall back on.
Gabe Davis has not emerged, at all.
He's done the opposite, man.
Yeah.
After that divisional round performance that you're talking about, that game, disappointed a lot of fantasy owners this year. A lot of people expected him to take the leap. He's got all the tools. Meanwhile, on the other side, Joe Burrow has 3 studs to throw to, at least 2 legit. Like T. Higgins could potentially be a number 1 guy in the right system. So
they're sick.
So that Bengals squad, man, I know Alex, they got a couple of injuries on the offensive line on the right side. Lyle Collins and former Buccaneer Alex Kappa went down, but everyone's hurt this time of year. Everyone's got shit they're dealing with. So sorry, Scotty, please continue. I just wanted to get that piece in there on the bill.
No, it's totally fair. And hey, whatever the lines are between Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Buffalo, they're razor thin. Nobody can say anyone's stupid for picking any of those teams. And, if let's say the Chargers, if they get by Jacksonville, which I'm sneaky super excited for that game, by the way, on Saturday night, because after watching the Jags-Titans game this past Saturday, which was like a playoff game, it was absolutely lit in that place, which it never is because it never matters. So, that's fun. And so basically, if the Chargers were playing let's say they win that game and they were playing some other team that wasn't the Chiefs, who have just owned them and owned everyone in their division. Because like I love Herbert, like any normal person does. He's absolutely incredible. But I still think the Chiefs and Reed just have the Chargers number. So do Burrow or Allen have to beat each other and then beat Mahomes? It's just,
it's tough.
I'm going to take KC as a result of that. But I totally understand why someone would pick any of those other teams. But I'm going to take the Niners in the NFC. I mean, I think we have a big enough sample size that Shanahan knows how to use Purdy. Purdy is really good. Look at those weapons that they have. They're just so dynamic. Kittle looks as good as he ever has. The Debo and McCaffrey combo are just lethal. I think the Eagles had a really nice year. And sorry, really nice, not to sound condescending. But do we think they're, truly the class of the league? I think they're a really good team. And obviously they would be hosting the NFC Championship game. So by definition, they have a chance to get to the Super Bowl, right? 100%. I just like the Niners better. I like the Niners more. And in that spot. So I would take Chiefs Niners as of now.
It's AFC heavy, man. That's the thing. I don't think they're the class of the NFL, which is why I have them losing, but I think they're the class of the NFC at this point.
Okay. So, fair.
And I think Hurts, as long as he's healthy enough, I think what a year he had. Like,
did you pick a winner, Scott?
No, do I have to give a winner yet, or can I just give my matchup?
Oh yeah, you got to pick a winner.
Okay, I'm taking the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay, Chiefs over Niners.
Chiefs over Niners.
A rematch, a Super Bowl rematch.
From a couple years ago. Yeah.
Cool. That'd be fun. Can't be worse off than with Garoppolo under center if you're the Niners, and the team around him is better too. So
So the Niners lost that first game of the year in the monsoon to the Bears, which is ridiculous. The Bears won 2 more games the rest of the year. The Niners were 13-4, so 13-3 the rest of the way. That's crazy. I feel like that wasn't really discussed. Yeah. Everyone knew they were good, and their power ratings were always a little bit higher than their record, I think. But they just reeled off wins to end the year.
Speaking of ending the year, I don't want to forget about it because sometimes this happens, and I can't believe I didn't bring something up. How about the Houston Texans?
Oh my God! Shout out to Lovie Smith.
Honestly,
that was the other. I was thinking about going. I was either going to cosplay Geno Smith or Lovie, and I have the Seahawks hat already. So
Lovie knew he was on the way out, so he's trying to burn that motherfucker down, man. And he's like, all right, fine, I'll get a win. You want wins? Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe the Texans won that football game and cost themselves the first.
I'm pretty sure I texted you when I saw that. I was like, "What? Why did they do?" The Bears just got the first, just gifted.
And I'm not a Lovie Smith fan as a coach at all, nor do I think any Buccaneer fan is. But I did write an article this week that's up on Bucs Game Day. Just kind of talking about how it's ridiculous, no matter who is the coach, to fire him after 1 year with the roster he had to work with. Like, what an inept franchise that is.
They were like, that's the thing, right? It's like, I think especially, not to take it to another place here, I still want to just talk football, but like the way that they've treated black coaches, the Texas organization in general, has been like
not good,
a laughingstock. It's like a blemish on the league at this point. Like I forget who they wanted, because the guy that's their GM is a former Pats guy, and I can't remember what Pats quarterback he wanted to bring in to be the head coach, but the guy was literally a volunteer assistant at a high school.
Wasn't it Josh McCown?
Yeah, it's Josh McCown. Yeah. You're right. His only coaching experience was like literally having, so like they were like, oh, okay, I guess we can't hire him right away, so we'll just hire the worst black coach we can find. And
dude, Josh McCown was coaching high school and then flying to Philly. And remember, he was the backup for the Eagles and had to actually have to play a game or something like that 2 years. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
But he's an awesome guy. That's why they want him in the building.
Well, there you go.
You're right though, Bo. You're right, because it's back-to-back black coaches on 1 year deals. It's like they just bring them in. Oh, we'll do our little Rooney nod here. Look at us hiring people of color back-to-back years. Well, you fired them after 1 year each. It's unbelievable. That's just
you fired him in week 1. Let's be honest here. He was never getting that job.
Yeah. What do you expect him to do, like with that roster?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's get to your predictions here, Bo Dweezy.
Yeah, I hate to be on the same side as Scott here, but like the Chiefs Niners thing makes so much sense. and the only reason why I'm not going to do it is because I'm just like something has to break. Like, I'm gonna go Bills, Eagles, and I think the Bills take it over the Eagles.
Nice. I like it. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. You're
so many.
Yeah, lots of that AFC, man, is crazy.
I think the Bucs, I guess, would be good, obviously. But as long as it's the Eagles or the Niners from the NFC, I mean, we're gonna get a good matchup, right? Like, the teams at the top are so good.
Yeah, you're right. Those two teams are good enough. You'd expect if they're rolling enough to make it there that they're going to be playing good football.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If somehow the Bucs did it, if they were to make it to the Super Bowl, then we're actually getting a good version of them, I would imagine, at that point.
Yeah.
We are a Bucs podcast.
Did you say
as soon as you said it?
Bo, you said Bills to beat the Eagles?
Yeah.
11-1. 11-1 right now.
Really?
And Collin, sorry, you had the Bengals to beat the Eagles. 20-1.
Ooh.
It's a little tasty.
Yeah, but they have to beat.
They're gonna have to beat the Bills.
Bills, Chiefs, Eagles.
They have to beat the Bills, the Chiefs,
and
then the Eagles to get there.
Parlay that out. 20-1 is probably fair for that.
Well, whoever's winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, and the Eagles have to get there as well. There's actually two sides to that, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
the Eagles just got to win 2 games to get there, though.
That's true.
Whoever's winning is gonna have to beat some good teams. That's for sure.
For sure, it's a gauntlet.
Yeah. Anyway, it'll get started this weekend. So, like, some of the games are meh. Like, you're totally right, Scott. Even as like an objective observer, I think Bucs Dallas would be the most enticing. Chargers Jags would be my next.
Yeah,
two is out. 2 is out still. So the Bills are gonna have a cakewalk this first round.
I think that's 38-10.
Yeah, Vikings Giants. Oh God, I think it's.
Did you see the kid gloves they had Skylar Thompson in that Jets game on Sunday? Holy fuck! Like,
didn't watch the snap, and I'm really proud of that. Actually.
Well, I bet on it, so I had to, and I almost puked. But
I actually thought he did really good things in the preseason. Funny enough, Skylar Thompson, not like but like. But really? Vikings Giants is kind of an ugly game too. Like, I don't know. Aside from individual players, like watching Saquon and Jefferson, I mean, I don't trust the Vikings and I don't trust the Giants.
Yeah, me neither. The Vikings could just play spoiler this whole fucking way though. Like, they're like, if anything is going to break in the NFC, the Vikings making it to the Super Bowl is the most like, what the fuck just happened way. Here?
Yeah, and then they'd perform like TCU in the title game or something.
Yeah,
exactly. They'd get blown.
Those purple boys.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. And then we just saw Giants Vikings it was a good game, actually. I think the Giants should have won, but of course Minnesota somehow did. I mean, this is only Minnesota -3 at home, right? So I mean, they're calling these teams pretty even, and that's a 13-win Vikings team versus a Giants team that nobody thinks is any good, and they're still only laying the 3 at home, right? So good luck.
Yeah, and then you got. So it's looking like Lamar Jackson isn't going to play.
Right.
Yeah. He is not going to play.
Which is wild. Unbelievable. Like I don't know. Like, it was a PCL injury quite a ways ago. It seems very ominous the way this is all played out based on his contract issues. And
really, I couldn't be a more volatile contract situation in the league.
Something's going on.
We've ever seen.
Bizarre, man. Bizarre. Because you got to think he would want to play this game, though, too. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Whether he's trying to hold is he trying to hold the franchise hostage, or is he still hurt? Like,
or
little column A, little column B, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. So, and then of course I missed the first game of the weekend on Saturday. Seahawks Niners. It would be nice to see the Seahawks hang tough. Not sure they can do it, but they would need to play better than they did last week. That's for sure. Trying to battle the Rams and the officials. I don't know if any of you guys watched that game, because obviously the implications for the Detroit Lions were intriguing. And of course for the Seahawks to make it, they had to win, but just I had no skin in that game at all. Right. So I have no lean whatsoever, but I could not believe how much the officials were costing the Rams chances to win that football game. It was wild, man. And I'm not going to go through all the instances, but I just want to see if you guys had seen that. Like,
I just had it on in the background, but I was checking Twitter during the game, and it seemed like people were thinking it was a little fishy. Just leave it at that. But
it was so weird. It was
Yeah.
bizarre how one-sided it
that-
was down the stretch. But the one thing I will say is the Rams had the ball in overtime. All they needed to do was I forget if they needed a touchdown, but they had a wide open receiver. I think it was Van Jefferson, and Baker just threw a fucking duck. It was pathetic. It was the most, like, no matter what Baker has done, like, I would cut his ass for that throw. It is not an NFL throw.
Quandre Diggs picked it and taunted the sideline at the same time. It was such an easy pick.
Yeah. No penalty there either.
He just mixes in an absolute duck. Like every now and again, that it doesn't even look like a D2 throw. And then he can make some throws.
It was
holy shit. It's like when you're absolutely striping the ball off the tee, and then you get to number 7 and you hit it into the water in front of you. I mean, that might be more, representative of one of us on this pod. I don't know who, but it's like in Baker, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, where did that come from? But it's painful to watch.
And and then I just want to, shout out to the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell, you're a friend of the show, man. I think
complete 180.
We
couldn't
really
be a bigger 180.
We went hard on him about the kneecaps thing and wrote him off back then, but that guy's earned my respect. You know why? Because he's earned the respect of his players, and they were balling out to end the year, man.
Yeah.
And also, we owe an apology to Jared Goff. He threw 15 touchdowns with 0 interceptions over the last 7 weeks of the season.
Great.
Jared Goff did that as well when they went to the Super Bowl too. And
fair. Yeah. I'm not saying I want him to lead my
franchise.
He's good.
But I think that when he was bad on the Rams and they were moving to Detroit, I think it was quite possible that he was out of the league in the next 2 to 3 years. He's clearly a starter, and I think someone that you can at least, play with and do some damage with. And just the point I want to make about Dan Campbell is, obviously the kneecaps and all that rah shit is obviously bullshit and kind of ridiculous, but whatever. That's not really my issue, or was my issue. I don't think he made good decisions as a coach, right? Now, he was new, but some coaches don't learn, or they're too stubborn to ever learn. That's when I criticize coaches. That's my main thing, is the stubbornness or inability to change. His decision-making, his in-game decision-making improved. You can tell he's getting better. A lot of coaches just level off as soon as they get the role, right? So good for him. They care about him. Like I said, he's improving as a coach, and I wish they were playing in this game on Saturday. But
yeah. And shout out to the Canadian men's track team, because their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, also hell of a job by him. And that's for the Lions. But yeah, Dan Campbell going for it all the time on fourth and stuff, being super aggressive. That fits his whole mantra anyway. So Scotty, I like that point about just being able to change, being flexible to change. It's like people in general, right? It's like, it's nice when you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh boy, we've talked lots. We've talked plenty of Bucs Cowboys. We have given our Super Bowl predictions. Now I just want to discuss the regular season award winners. We'll just each fire through ours, and then we can pick them apart at the end if we want. If you want to do that, go around the horn. But MVP, or do you guys want to go award by award, or just me fire through them all?
Everything.
Yeah, fire through. Let's fire through. We'll just go roulette.
Okay. So
you go first, and then we'll pop right after with our if we're with it or whatever.
Okay, MVP. I got Patrick Mahomes.
Me too.
I'm with that.
Okay. Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I guess. What is this award?
I know, Scotty. I know. It's Patrick Mahomes then. If he's the MVP.
Why is it not Mahomes? You know what? I'm saying Mahomes. I don't give a shit.
Okay, fair. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's just so it should just be called most valuable quarterback and then offensive. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
It's ridiculous.
It perturbs me as well, sir.
It's just so poorly thought out. Okay.
But Bo, you're with me on Jefferson?
I love it, honestly. How many records did he break this year?
Oh shit, I don't know. He was close to 2,000 yards though, man. What a weapon he is. He's unreal.
He's unbelievable.
He's so fun to watch. He's incredible. He does every single thing you want a receiver to do, and he looks kind of slender for a receiver, but he's gritty as hell. I know I've said that stupid pun before because he does the gritty, and I don't mean for it to be a pun. But he is gritty. He'll get you yards any which kind of way. Unbelievable. Defensive Player of the Year, I got Nick Bosa. I think he's had a dominant season as an edge defender. He's been able to stay healthy, and then you combine that with how dominant their defense has been. I just think he's earned it.
Yeah, he was awesome this year.
Who else?
It's tough not to give it to an edge guy. Yeah, I've got no arguments with that.
I think you could make a Parsons argument.
Yeah, you certainly could.
That's there too. But for the versatility, he definitely was. I think he tapered off a little bit as the season went on.
Yeah, I mean, Bose is a huge favorite. Actually, I actually hadn't looked at the Defensive Player of the Year odds in a while, but Bose is minus 1,200 here.
Who's
so
next?
I mean,
who's next?
Parsons is next, and then Max Crosby. Good for him, but it's way
he's awesome.
Long shot territory. You know, Matt. Just a shout out. Yeah, I mean, he's 150 to 1. He's never going to win it. But Matthew Judon had an absolute freakish year with the Pats. I mean, he was just a menace every time you turn on a Pats game. But yeah, 150 to 1. So Bosa is the odds is the favorite. So
now this one I think will be more interesting between the three of us. I got Pete Carroll for Coach of the Year.
Whew. Yeah,
I just think. If you go back to coming into this year, Dayball's a guy who I love the hire, and he immediately paid dividends, and that was awesome. And then you got to look at Kevin O'Connell and what he's done in Minnesota. But I just think with what the Seahawks were expected to do, their best case didn't feel like a playoff appearance. They were supposed to be one of the worst teams in football, and I just thought. With all those distractions going on and all the quarterback controversy, he kind of empowered Geno Smith and got the most out of his guys. And we've been hard on Carroll previously as well, but not like that factored into my decision. I just think he earned it this year with how well he coached that team up. I think they were playing above their weight class, and they did it all year long, and now they're in the playoffs.
It's a great story. And the biggest FU to Russell Wilson possible, which I think this pod has come to a place where that's the kind of something we're looking for in a coach. But I got to go with Shanahan. There's this thing in video games where they say the meta of the game is just the best thing that you can possibly do. I think he's changing the meta of football, the way that he set up that offense to have triple threats at basically every eligible receiver. Where they can just they can run it, they can pass it, they can catch it. It's insane what his offense has done despite all the injuries to what we thought is the most pivotal, or what we think of as the most pivotal position on the field at the quarterback. To do that and to have the record they have, the seeding they have, and how dominant they've been doing it is just I can't let that go.
Can you imagine him with a quarterback? No disrespect to Brock Purdy, but with a weapon at quarterback. I mean, it's incredible what he's accomplished already. I mean, you guys know how I feel about him as an offensive. Scotty doesn't like throwing the word genius around, but I feel like he is one.
I know. Yeah, this is my I think this is the exception. He is the fact that he's doing I guess you can say if he would have just picked Fields, this would have been no hitter perfect game.
Oh my God. I have my article. I wrote 2 big paragraphs saying Shanahan needs to look at Fields here. Why is no one talking Fields? It's Trey Lance or Mac Jones before the draft. God damn it.
I almost wonder if he likes not having the big name quarterback. You know what I mean? Because he can do what he wants. And then he
wants the glory.
Yeah, you have a bit of, I'm not even, this is going to make it sound like I'm really calling him out, but then you have a bit of a scapegoat too, right? It's it's fucking Jimmy G or Brock Purdy. But
it's like when Johnny, our friend Johnny, got super baked before his G2 test. So when he failed, he had something to blame it on.
Which time?
Allegedly. Oh God.
Yeah.
We love you.
That's fair, Bo. I think Shanahan should win it. I think Sirianni or Dayball does win it, and I'll go with Dayball just because first year in the playoffs, nobody expected anything out of them. I don't necessarily agree, but I think that's what's going to happen.
And I'm glad you brought up Sirianni's name because it's kind of ridiculous to not mention him. I mean, I just think that roster is just so stacked that not to take it away from him. You can only coach what you got in front of you, and he's done a great job. Lots of candidates though. Like
for sure.
that
Yeah.
would that would make
Good
it
year
under
coaching.
different criteria.
And
right?
like shouts to Andy Reid, man. They went 14-3.
Just hanging out.
They
Totally.
just beat the shit out of everyone. They lost Tyreek Hill, didn't miss a beat. Obviously, I don't know what they probably would have had to go to undefeated, honestly, or maybe 16-1 for them to have a chance. But great year. He was awesome again. And those guys, that's just not how the award works. It'll never go to someone like that who has a good team, right? So.
And the name that I think the only one maybe that we didn't mention that should be mentioned is Doug Peterson and Jacksonville.
Oh yes, great call. Yep.
Right, like just what a turn of events there, incredible. And I know you love to see it, Scotty.
I mean, to me, considering how much of a mess the Jags were, and seeing them immediately turn around with a pretty similar roster. I'm not going to take any Urban shots. I don't give a shit. Well, actually, I do. I love it, but like. It's pretty comparable to what Dayball did. It's just Peterson has done it before, right? And obviously he's a Super Bowl winning coach, but I don't know. I think he's a great candidate as well. Take your pick. Take your pick.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm looking a little blurry. Might have to cancel the pod, boys. They can't see me clearly.
Come back.
Yeah. Okay. Comeback player of the year.
Water.
Comeback player of the year. Last award. One thing I'm actually working on a piece right now is I feel like Chris Godwin deserves some consideration, and I didn't choose him. But to think of like how bad his ACL tear and his knee injury was in week 15 last year, like a lot of people would have missed almost this entire season. It's barely over a year ago he suffered the injury, and all he's done since then is go for 1,000 yards and 100 receptions. Like pretty incredible, I think, bounce back season by him. So got to shout out my guy, Chris Godwin. But I chose Geno Smith, and I think it's hard not to. I'd be interested to see who else you could pick. Just his whole career. It's incredible. It's just been an amazing story. So, and we're really honored to have him here with us tonight for this interview. Geno, I got to say, if I got the award, it's going to you, buddy.
Hey.
They wrote me off, but I ain't right back.
Yeah.
For anyone who's listening and not watching, Bo's wearing a Seahawks toque, and
yeah, and he's got game film on in the background.
Yeah.
I would just argue, what's he coming back from? Okay,
from not being a starting quarterback.
Yeah, utter irrelevance.
Yeah, utter irrelevance. That's the way what you said.
I guess it's usually
like I like the idea of this not being about an injury, because like this is basically, to me, most improved player in the NBA, just because under a different name.
It's kind of both. It can be an injury or coming out of nowhere, and I guess ultimately you're like reviving your career, so that's a comeback in itself. And I think it's perfect for him.
Okay.
Who do you have? Saquon?
Yeah. Saquon. Fuck. He's actually injured. He's actually actually came back and looked like himself this year. That's what I would do, just based on the actual award. Based on Collin's definition of, some guy who used to play, now he doesn't play as much and he's playing again, then yeah, Geno had an absolutely insane year. I would like a different award for Geno, because he's been one of the best stories in the league. But if I'm actually picking a comeback player of the year, I'm picking Saquon, and I think you could make an argument for McCaffrey or Godwin, to be honest. But that's
okay. Let me just read this: Associated Press NFL Comeback Player of the Year. While the criteria for the award is imprecise, it is typically given to a player who shows perseverance in overcoming adversity from not being able to play the previous season, such as an injury, or for playing well in comparison to the previous year's poor performance. I think Collin's definition was pretty close.
Previous year's performance. He didn't have any previous year's performance because he didn't get to play ever.
Exactly. What a way to overcome
adversity. Am I walking into it now? Am I walking right into it? That sounded better in my head.
I think you got to be like your favorite head coaches and just understand when it's time to switch gears, buddy.
Okay. Well, to be fair, I had never read that exact definition. So that does give some leeway. I'll give you that. That's for sure.
Well,
but
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. This has been a long episode. Scott had the bold claim to think we could keep it to like 35 minutes this episode.
Okay.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube and check us out, rate and review, all that good stuff. Check out the written work on bucksgameday.com. Big game this weekend. Hopefully it's a good one. We'll see what happens. Go Bucs. Till next time.